Hi, this is Yoram Solomon again. This time I'm going to, as I promised, show you a video of how I'm using the Elgato Stream Deck with OBS. Now what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to switch to another window and I'm going to just show you the window. So you're not going to see me. I'm going to take you through what's in that window. So what I've done is I've set up a complete screen, a complete display. And you can see that this is the display that we have. We have my main 27-inch display. And you can actually see everything that's on that screen. So it gets kind of weird because you see OBS here and you can see multiple layers because you got the screen and OBS in the screen and then another OBS in the other screen, and it gets pretty wild. Anyway, so what you're going to see here is everything I see on my right screen, but I have another image, and this is the C920 camera right now, is set up to point at the real Elgato Stream Deck that I have here. So whenever I press something or whenever I do something, you will see the impact on the actual Elgato Stream Deck device. Okay, the first thing you need to do is, well, buy an Elgato Stream Deck device. There are three sizes. One of them has 6 buttons. That's the mini. This one has the 15 buttons. That's the one that I got. It's kind of in the middle. And then there is the XL, I think they call it, that has 32 buttons. The next thing that you do is, after you bought this, is that you need to install the software. So we're going to install the software here. Well, first of all, let's look for it. Elgato Stream Deck. And of course, as soon as you do that, that's going to be the first thing that you find. When you go to Stream Deck, this is what it looks like. There are different devices, as I told you. Stream Deck XL, that's the one with 32 buttons. Stream Deck, the one I have, with 15 buttons. Mini with 6 buttons. Apparently, they have software for mobile, so you can use your phone as a device. And then this is the software, and we're going to go to the software. And under the software, it's just going to ask you for what device you have. So this is another device that I have here to get images from my DSLR camera into a USB port. So it allows the DSLR to behave like a webcam. This is Stream Deck, so we're going to choose Stream Deck. This is the software. This is where you download it and you install it. Well, I've already installed mine, so I'll bring it into, I created a new profile just for this video. So let's look what we see. What you can see here is that this is exactly the same as what you see in the device itself. You can see one button, that's the welcome, and I think that what the welcome does is, if I click on it, yes, it opens a website with, well, it's not set for access in the background. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to eliminate this because I don't need this. And the programming Elgato is very, very straightforward. And when I say straightforward, it's one of those things where what you see is what you get. So everything that I'm going to do in the screen, in the software itself, you're going to see happening on the panel. So just to give you a sense of what we're talking about is, I'm just going to create something. Oh, by the way, these are the 15 buttons. Everything here are all of the functions that you can create with those buttons, and all you do is you just drag them over there. So for example, we're going to create a record button. There are different categories. I should have started with that. There are different categories. I don't have anything with game capture right now. Actually, I do. That's the device that I have from the DSLR, but I'm not going to mess with that. There are all kinds of other things that you can do, and I'll touch on a few of them, but right now I'm focused on OBS. Why do I need this device altogether, the Elgato? Well, as you know, if I would press any button on the keyboard right now, it would go straight to the active window. Right now, even on this screen by itself, you can see several active windows. You can see this window, the OBS window. You can see the Stream Deck window. There is the screen in the back, the browser in the back. And actually, that's it. That's all we can see. But there are other windows as well. Now, if for some reason, let's take Stream Deck, for example. If Stream Deck goes to the back, you can't see it anymore. That means that any button keys will not correlate with that. What Stream Deck does is that it penetrates through all the layers of windows that you can see straight into OBS. So whatever you do with Stream Deck will actually activate something on OBS, even if OBS is not the top screen that you currently have. So let's just do that. Let's drag the record button and decide that we're going to put it here. This is going to be our record button. What this means right now is that if I press this button, it will be recording on Stream Deck. On OBS. Well, you can see that OBS right now is already recording. So if I press that button now, it would actually stop. So you know what? Of all the buttons, this is not going to be one that I'm going to play with. So let's just delete this. Are you sure you want to delete? Yes, I'm sure I want to delete. Now you can see on the other hand that I have a few other things that I can use here, a few scenes, for example. And some of the things that I can do here is bring another source. So I can control a source through Stream Deck. So here I'm bringing a source. Which source am I going to use? You know what? I'm going to use the iPhone device. So remember that iPhone, right now iPhone is off. And so let's just call this title is going to be iPhone. Okay, here is something I want you to notice. You can see it here, but you can also see that it appeared in the real device and it actually says iPhone. Now, scene, the logo for our scene right now, this is the logo. What is the collection? So if you remember when I showed you how to use OBS, we have different screen collections, and the one that I'm using is regular. The one I created when I demonstrated it for you, I called it OBS NSA, but we're in regular. So the first thing we're going to do is say, which screen collection are we choosing from? We're choosing from regular. The scene itself, we are right now in the Asus monitor. That's the monitor that I have. So if I go to scene, let's choose Asus monitor. Okay, that's the current scene. And what we're going to do is, we said iPhone, so let's choose a source. And the source is going to be iPhone. You can see that now we called it iPhone, and it should actually now control it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to activate my iPhone. I'm going to activate the Kinoni EpoCam feature of my iPhone. So I'm holding my iPhone to the keyboard, and you can see here that the iPhone is not enabled. So if I press it, now it's enabled, and you will see it. Let's move it to another place on the screen. You can see everything that I see. This is my setup, and if I click it again, it just disappears. You don't see it anymore. Well, we have just programmed it into the Elgato Stream Deck, so let's see what happens if we press it. If we press it, there it goes. We have this scene. It showed up, it turned on. Press it again, the scene is off. Okay, let me turn off the phone. We don't need that anymore. I demonstrated how we add a source, which is probably going to be the #1 feature you're going to use it for. The only one thing is I really don't like what this looks like. So if I go here, I can change the text, maybe give it another color. How about if we give it orange color? So you'll notice it turned orange here. And guess what? If you go here, you'll see that it turned orange in the Elgato screen, in the Elgato device itself. You can see that it's orange. I can even change the image. So if I'm going to be here and down click, I can choose another icon. Now, one thing I did create is I have a library, a file folder that I created here with all of the images. And I think that this is what I like for camera on. So I'm just going to choose this one, and we're going to open it. And you will see now that both here on the screen and on the actual device. Now this is what camera looks like. Now if I unclick it, well, what happened here, actually, what you can see is that when I'm off, it just goes into a darker shade, and that's it. Well, I want something a little more, so if this here is how we set it up for on, this is how we're going to set it up for off, and you can see that it's slightly darker, but I'm going to do something else. I'm going to actually put a completely dark camera. So there. Now when it's on, it's red, and you can see in the screen that it brought it up. It brought up the iPhone. And when it's off, it's black. It's dark, and obviously you turn it off. This is how I like to do it. All you have to do is you can just create your own images. So if I'll go back here and just choose set from file, you can see that I just created images. Those are images that I created. All they have to be is they have to be square. The resolution of the LCD screen on the device itself is 144 by 144 pixels. So you got to be a little careful with how detailed you want it to be. Now, I showed you how to add a source. You can even add a scene. So now we're going to choose between different scenes. And the different scenes that I have here are, well, I can just go to the main scene, which instead of showing you what we have here, this scene, the screen, the display, I can choose the main screen, which is where you're going to see me. So let's just call it we're just going to call it main. Okay, we are in the regular collection. The scene we're choosing is actually main, so somehow it defaulted to that. And I think we're set. I mean, if I'm going to, first of all, you can see it here. You probably saw that it appeared on the real device. And before I choose that, what I want to do is I want to put another scene so that it would allow us to very quickly go to the other one. This scene I'm going to call, let's just call it, let's call it ASUS, because that's the name of the monitor that I have here. We're going to choose the ASUS monitor scene that we have already defined as one of the scenes. This is the scene that we're currently seeing. And now we have two scenes. You can see that this one is selected. So through the communication between Stream Deck and OBS, Stream Deck, the communication goes both ways. On one hand, Stream Deck, or the actual Stream Deck, tells OBS what to do, controls it, but on the other hand, it gets information from it. So you can see that it already knows that the ASUS screen is scene is the one that's selected. So now I'm going to push another one, and guess what? We just changed scenes. I'm going to push that one again, and we are back to the other scene. We just switched between scenes using buttons on Stream Deck. I already mentioned you can use record. Now, for some of you, you may say, you know what, 15 buttons is just not enough. However, the question is if it's enough in some cases. And so one of the things that you can do here is I did a double click, not a double click, a right click. So I chose this button. And you know what, I like doing it like in a corner, start in a corner. So right click on any button on the display, right click, create folder. Let's click create folder, and this folder is going to be called, we'll just call it Yoram for now, and it has 0 items. Well, here's what happens. You can see already that this was created here. If I press on this, I actually created a second layer of buttons, and I can do all kinds of things in this layer of buttons. And then whenever I push the up arrow, that automatically gets created on the top left corner. I wonder if you can move it from being the top left corner. No, it looks like it's there. It's gonna be up there. If you press this, you go back to the previous layer. So you can have one top layer that has several different areas of functionality, And whenever you press one of them, you're going to get to the buttons that you're going to need, and they're going to be available. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think I can probably do a longer video and show you all kinds of cool things. By the way, one interesting thing you can do is create multi-action, and in multi-action you're just going to have a list of things that will automatically happen once after the other. I have not used that yet, so really the top things that I've done, that I'm doing with it, is what you see here. I am using Elgato for multiple applications, and as a result, I do use those files or folders, so I have several layers. In each layer, in some cases, I actually have multi-layers, but frankly, if all you do is just control OBS, for me, knowing that I have 15 buttons, let's say one of them is going to be record, and obviously next time you're going to stop, it's going to stop recording. Again, if I take you through this, I'm going to show you that I created this folder for my computer. I gave it my own name. It's not something you choose, and I can decide that, you know what, I'm going to put, well, my favorite, F18, and this is what this button is going to look like from this moment on, iPhone. And guess what? If you look at the actual display, that's what you're going to see. And this is going to turn on iPhone as a source and then turn it off the next time that I press on it. This is typically how I use it. If there are any questions, just again let me know. Oh, one last thing. When you change the icon, or if you change the text or the color of the text and where the text is, I want you to pay attention to first do it to whatever it's going to look like when it's on. Okay, first do it to when it's on. When you do it when it's on, then you can change it to what it's going to look like and what the text color or location or even size is going to be for where it's off. Because otherwise, when you do it for it's on, it does it for both of them. Again, with the exception of when it's off, it's going to be in a slightly darker color. But when you do it for the off position, then you do it separately. You can have completely different image, which is essentially what we have now. This is what it looks like when it's on. This is what it looks like when it's off. Okay, that's pretty much it. Didn't take too long. Hopefully it was clear enough. Once again, if you have any other questions and I have some time, I can shoot another video and show you what this looks like. What I used OBS to record this show today, this program today, and all I have to do is now stop recording and publish it for you. Hope this is helpful. Take care, be safe, be good. Okay, one last thing. I should have shown you that just so that you see how I use it. You know, I told you that in Stream Deck I created this profile just to show you how I do things. G7 is the name of my laptop. It's a Dell G7. And so I wanted you to see what I actually have it programmed for. So at the highest level, you can see that I have OBS is one use for it. So when I press it, you can see my 3 different cameras. You can see the record button, which I'm not going to press right now. You can see my F18 background that you probably saw me using. You can see my the logo that I used for the Book of Trust, PowerPoints, Chrome, and so on. I'll go back up and you can see DCS, that's the flight simulator that I use, and you can see that I have an F18 or a Huey. UFC, see that I'm already, even the F18 here and the UE here are both really folders. They're not buttons that activate something. If I go here, this is another folder. UFC is another folder. I press this and I even have one more folder that I can press to go to one other layer. So I can use multiple layers, and in OBS, I really only have one of them. 14 buttons are plenty for how I use it. Okay, again, be good, be safe, take care.